Welcome to Elevate Today podcast. Today I'm with Joana, who is a naturopath, a colon hydrotherapist, and the official poop doctor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Hannah.
So tell me, how did you get the boldness and the courage to go after poop doctor?
Completely by accident. Yeah. I was a high school student looking for work, and I was just walking into these random offices down the street from my parents' house asking if they were hiring. At the time, I was 15 years old. I had a lot of acne and eczema. I had chronic fatigue. My mood was all over the place, and I just thought, that's normal teenage stuff. And then I started working at this holistic health center and implementing all the things that I was learning there. And slowly but surely, all my symptoms were starting to go away. My skin was starting to clear up. My digestion was improving. I was getting my energy back. And I realized how much pain I was in. And I just had no idea how much I was suffering until I was finally able to get out of it. So once that changed my life, I decided that this was something that I had to pursue further.
So when you were a teenager, how old was that?
15.
Wow.
So I've been doing this over half my life now.
Wow. And you met Diane?
Correct. Yeah.
What was her last name?
Malloy.
Wow. It's insane. So long story short, we met at a pop-up and so she's a naturopath now, but someone that taught you and you worked with was the one that worked with my mom. So you met my mom like 15 years ago.
Correct. Yeah. I remember your mom. And then when I saw your last name, I was like, what are the chances that she's her daughter? So yeah, very small world. And I'm glad that I found you.
Yeah, it's just so cool because especially with my mom's health world, she's like she studies people, studies everything. And so when she picks with someone and works with someone for a while, we start to know their name. We start to know what they're doing. So now my mom does a lot of the same practices that she learned from that time. So what are these services that my mom went for that you were doing that healed you at 15 that you're now doing to others?
Yep. The main service was colon hydrotherapy. It's a professional enema. So I tell people, if you love to poop, you're going to love this. You're basically pooping for 45 minutes, but the water is doing the work for you. It's a very tiny nozzle, about the size of a pencil, and goes in a couple of inches, and it's constantly irrigating the colon. Introducing water into the colon causes peristalsis. That's the natural contraction of the colon throughout the day. So it's going to make it contract a little bit more quickly. It's giving you that urgency feeling like you need to go to the bathroom, and then you just let go and you have a bowel movement, and then you automatically start to fill back up again. You hold the water and then you just let go. So you're literally pooping for 45 minutes, but the water is doing the work for you. It can bring immediate relief to anybody that is having any type of a digestive issue, especially constipation, because you're going to move bowels in that session. But the liver and the colon are interconnected through that hepatic pathway. The liver dumps into the colon. It's great for hormones, great for energy. It's really good for the kidneys as well, since the kidneys and the colon are interconnected as well. But we also offer far infrared sauna, which is good for heavy metal detox and improving circulation, reducing inflammation in the body, and an ionic foot detox, which is a negative ion generator in the water that's releasing negative ions. Toxins are positively charged, so it works like a magnet pulling. You'll see the water change colors. It starts to smell. My clients in high fuming environments, so like my hairdressers, my nail technicians, my guys that work at the gun range or the airport, the room will start to smell like bleach or chlorine or metals, whatever chemicals that they're working with. My swimmers especially, like the room starts to smell like chlorine because it's pulling all of those toxins out of them. I even have clients that will start tasting metal in their mouth during their session because it's pushing out so many metals.
That's for the infrared sauna or the
foot detox. The foot bath.
So what careers are ones that are causing a lot of heavy metals in their body?
What causes them?
What careers are
careers. So definitely something like a gun range, a machinist, people who work at the airport. Anytime that you're exposed to fumes, a painter, a hairdresser, a nail technician, guys who work in garages, mechanics, right? You walk into a garage shop and you can just smell the fumes. They're constantly exposed to this all day. They're probably used to it. And you don't even realize how much of a burden that stuff is putting on you. Or even think about getting your laundry out of the washing machine, right? You just smell the laundry detergent right away. It's overpowering. And those are also endocrine disruptors. So it's going to affect your hormones in your body. And then people wonder, why is my testosterone low? Why is my estrogen high? All the perfumes that we're putting on us that are synthetic, all the synthetic makeup, synthetic toiletries. So, it's it's part of our environment, and we need a little bit more education around these things so that we can avoid them and just make better decisions.
Yeah. So I want to break down each of the things that you're talking about, with the first one being colon hydrotherapy. So this is basically forcing you to poop procedure for 45 minutes.
Yep.
One, people don't even talk about it, but to be visual, it's a gentle straw up your rectum to cleanse your colon from all of the heavy metals and harmful bacteria that can get clogged and stuck up there and cause digestive issues and gaining weight and different sicknesses. Correct?
Yep.
So why isn't the way we're currently pooping efficient?
Yeah, I would say that most people are constipated and they don't even know it. Honestly, if you're going once a day, I'm happy, because from my experience, and I mean, I'm in the poop industry, so given the majority of my clients that are coming to me have some digestive complaints. But what I'm saying is that most people aren't even going once a day, or they're going once a day and they think that they're irregular. In my world, and this is debatable if you were to ask a different medical doctor or a different expert, but in my world, normal bowel movement would be first thing in the morning and about 20-30 minutes after each large meal. So if you're having 3 large meals a day, I would like to see you going 3 to 4 times a day. Most people aren't hitting that. And then your bowels should be easy to pass, so you shouldn't be straining. They should be some shade of brown, and they should be well formed. So I don't want pebbles. I don't want hard balls. I don't want it smearing on the side of the toilet bowl. I don't want it floating. So there's definitely certain things that you want to pay attention to and look for in the stool. That's going to be a really good indication as far as what's going on internally in the body. And when I was younger, my grandma raised me to always look at my poop after I went to the bathroom, and she would always ask me, did you have a good poop? Right. And I feel like most of us weren't raised with that.
Yeah.
And she also said something really interesting where she said, poop is the first thing that we make as a human. So as a parent, you really want to be conscious of that. Like when your kids are pooping, don't act like it's smelly or like you're grossed out by it, because subconsciously they might think that what they're doing is bad, and they might try to withhold their poop because they're seeing this negative reaction from their parents. So especially from a young age, I would encourage you to encourage your kid to look at their poop, teach them what that means, right? If you're seeing like whole bits of undigested food in your poop, you're probably not chewing correctly. You probably don't have enough enzymes. But not being afraid of poop. And it's such a taboo subject. I feel like nobody really talks about it.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of my career, I used to ask people, are you regular? Like, are you going to the bathroom normally? I wasn't asking specifically how many times are you going to the bathroom. And one day I realized, because of a very special client, that everybody's normal looks different because we don't talk about this. I don't know how many times a day you're going to the bathroom. You don't know how many times a day I'm going to the bathroom, and we probably both think we're normal. And so I asked this new client as she came in, how often are you going to the bathroom? And she said, oh yeah, I'm regular. I go once a month with my period. Oh. So she only had one bowel movement a month with her cycle, and that was her normal.
Whoa.
And that's when I realized there has to be a more specific and open discussion about this, not just are you regular or are you normal, because we don't know what that really looks like. I even had a client come to me and their medical doctor told them that if they were going to the bathroom more than once a day, it was too much.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's why I was saying, if you ask other professionals, they might have a different opinion about this. Unless you're having one meal a day, I don't think you should be going to the bathroom once a day. But if you're having one meal a day, that's fine. So like I said, it's dependent on how much you're eating and how much you're moving. But the food that we're eating is also making the stool very sticky and very hard to pass. So usually we should be having bowel movements after each meal, but because of the food that we're eating, sometimes because of the pharmaceuticals that we're taking, and a lot of times just because of the stress that we deal with in our lives and we just suppress it.
Yeah.
Body holds on to stuff. We're not able to let go, and we end up being constipated and we don't even know it.
So I love what you said about with the kids, because my best friend, she has a son, and she has 2 boys, but she's doing such an amazing job making them just so healthy. And they eat like sea moss, and I've seen them eat beef liver and literally every healthy thing to the naturopath world. I've seen them eat because of her mom and her. They're just super healthy. But he went to the bathroom, and we all just like were hyping him up. And I just remember he was like abnormal, but we were just creating that culture because it was such a healthy bowel movement. And he's a boy, and we're just like, you were the healthiest little boy ever. And he was all excited. But it was weird. And I was like, something about this is hilarious and weird, but so good. It's good for these boys to develop understanding that like that's health. That's like at 5 years old, you develop your awareness to know that a clean, healthy bowel movement is good. Nothing to talk about. Oh, I can't talk about it with girls. I mean, yeah, that time will come. But I love that awareness. It makes me think about this time that a mom came to me about sea moss. So kids can take sea moss 1 to 2 teaspoons. And her daughter was constipated. And so obviously when they're little and they're little babies, you do so much of what the doctor says. They put baby on laxatives and it could be really aggressive. So if you had a baby that was like around months old, like 5 months old, not talking yet, not eating a ton, but could eat soft stuff, what would you suggest to heal their digestion?
Yeah, I think sea moss is a great option. It's a gel, so obviously a baby can eat it. It has a ton of minerals, which is especially that magnesium is going to just relax everything and make the stool softer. But it's also going to add this slipperiness to the intestines, and it's very soothing to the intestinal lining as well. So if it's dry or irritated, it's going to coat and soothe those intestines. So I definitely think it's a great idea for a kid. Another thing that I really like is papaya. And for a baby, you can just mush it up. But papaya, just like sea moss, is going to create that slipperiness and just allow the stool to become more slippery and come out more easily. It has a lot of enzymes and anti-inflammatory properties in the gut as well, just like sea moss. So those would be my 2 little go-tos. And then if you want to try something maybe a little bit more aggressive, would be something like a celery juice. Because kind of how coffee gets people going in the morning, celery juice will trigger that same peristalsis action. So I'd say those 3 foods are very safe for children.
What about the iodine content in the sea moss? Because that's like the only warning for safety. So what do you think about iodine, and in cases if you eat too much and you have more iodine, what happens to the body?
Yeah, I've never had anybody overdose on iodine. I personally am not a fan of isolated supplements either. So I'm not a fan of just taking a straight iodine. And if you do want to take a straight iodine, I actually like taking iodine topically, because you can see the rate that it's absorbing. So you can do a little iodine patch test and then see the quicker it absorbs. So if it's gone in a couple of hours, you're extremely iodine deficient. If it's still there the next day, then your iodine stores are full. So that would be like a test at home that you could do to even see where your iodine stores are. You can apply iodine topically in that way, but I really like whole foods for supplementation. So sea moss having all of the other minerals in there that it has in nature. Minerals and vitamins need each other to absorb. And when you're taking an isolated vitamin or a mineral, inevitably it's going to pull and leach other vitamins and minerals from your body so that it can actually absorb. So if you're just taking a straight iodine, a straight magnesium, a straight calcium, just a straight vitamin D, again, those things, like the vitamin D needs calcium. So if you're not taking the vitamin D with calcium together, now it's just going to pull calcium from your body. So when taking whole foods, I find them that much safer, because you're not really risking like this risk of over supplementation. To me is almost negligent, because the food has everything that it needs to absorb.
So for the colon hydrotherapy, would you suggest like anyone can take that for general health?
For the most part, yes. I've seen clients as young as 5, and I've seen clients as old as in their late 90s and everything in between. There are contraindications, of course, if you have had recent surgery to the abdominal area or to the colon itself. I had a client once who was missing an ileocecal valve, which I didn't even know was possible. It's the one-way valve from the small intestine to the large intestine. So during colon hydrotherapy, it's only your large intestine that's being irrigated. in your colon, there's a one-way valve from the small intestine to the large intestine that's preventing the water from backing up into the small intestine. So the water can't back up into the system, is what I'm saying. But in this one case, I had a client that had that one-way valve removed during surgery, which again, I didn't even know was physically possible. But of course, she told me before the session, and we didn't proceed. Yeah,
I was gonna say, what happened?
No. Thank God she mentioned it, because that's not something that I had ever encountered before. Yeah.
So what happened to the 5-year-old? Was that an easy thing for her?
Yeah. So with children, of course, like prep from parents is really important. I would never force a child on the table, right? If they don't want to do it, we don't want to create a traumatizing experience. All of the parents that have brought kids in did a really good job about prepping their kids as far as, this is good for you. You're going to feel a lot better. I'm going to be there for you. You're just going to poop and you're going to feel so good, type of a thing, so that they're like mentally prepared, and yeah. And they've all had great experiences. I had a child once, he had a stool the size of a softball, a blockage in his large intestine. They did an x-ray and they saw it. The doctor wanted to shove a tube down his throat through his gastrointestinal tract to blow air to push the stool out. And the mother asked about colon hydrotherapy instead. The doctor said, no, don't do that. She brought him in against medical advice. He passed the stool in front of us. I mean, we saw it afterwards because you can see the release coming out. She went back to the doctor, did an x-ray. X-ray was clear, blockage was clear, didn't need that procedure anymore. But the doctor said there's absolutely no way that it could have been the colon hydrotherapy that did this. Even though we had like physical evidence that the colon hydrotherapy actually cleared it out. You can imagine, I think he was like 5 or 6 at the time, a 5 or 6-year-old, even an adult passing the stool the size of a softball is painful. So, it wasn't the most comfortable experience in that moment.
How old was this kid?
5 or 6. Wow. Yeah. So he was definitely in tears. I mean, it was a hard, you're pooping a rock, right? But after he passed it, he just felt so much better. And then
saw the relief.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And then he didn't have to go through that super invasive procedure of being put under and having a tube shoved down your entire GI tract. So
does it like break your heart, make you angry, just get you so emotional just to see like the paths that are enforced versus the other opportunities of like the other paths that could heal your body, that could be less invasive, all natural, gentle even?
Yeah, it does break my heart because I feel like as a professional, you get an education from school, but it is also your responsibility to continue that education and to learn everything that you can about that subject so that you can best help your clients or your patients, in my opinion. So I don't think your education should just stop at what you're learning in school. And so I recently broke my toe and I had my podiatrist tell me that my pinky toe had absolutely no role in balance or stability. And unless I was rock climbing, that I didn't have to worry about a broken pinky toe, which to me was just mind-blowing. How can a podiatrist tell me that a pinky toe is negligent in balance and stability when it has everything to do with gait and literally grasping the ground? And of course, the only solution that he has is surgery. The education around physical therapy and correcting that, it's like you might be able to fix it that way, but he really doesn't know because he doesn't have that education of what it could be. I can't tell you how many clients I've had where their labs were borderline. So the doctor couldn't prescribe them pharmaceuticals yet. And they instead just told them, come back in a month and we'll retest you again and see if we can put you on drugs. So instead of preventing this disease from actually setting in, you just want to wait for me to get sicker so that you can prescribe me drugs. And a lot of these things are chronic lifestyle related issues. It's not like a life or death, like a sudden heart attack or an infection that you need to go to DR right away and, you need this pill and everything will be okay afterwards. These are like, if you just took a little bit of time with this human and gave them a little bit of education and really found out what they needed, it could be something as simple as more sleep, And instead we're just giving sleep medication, and instead of talking about sleep hygiene, are you watching TV before bed? Are you on your phone before bed? Are you having caffeine after 2:00? Instead of just saying, oh, you have insomnia, here's a pill for it.
Yeah.
So it is upsetting, but I think more and more people are learning, and the conversations are becoming more abundant and open. And I think as a collective, we're growing, like spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, and especially in this health world. I feel like as a collective, we are moving in the right direction. So that's exciting. If we would have had this conversation 10 years ago, nobody would know what colon hydrotherapy is or CMOS is. But now I mentioned CMOS to my clients at work, and they're like, oh, I've heard about CMOS. You have it here. So it's, you can blame social media for that and like viral TikToks. But I think it's a good thing. We're moving in the right direction, and I'm seeing more of the bridge between the Eastern and the Western. I'm seeing more functional medicine, more naturopathic doctors, and it's not completely traditional, but I think there's a time and place for both Eastern and Western. Like if you're in a car accident, my herbs don't have anything on what Western medicine can do for you in the ER. Like, please go to the ER, But in these chronic lifestyle related diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes, chronic fatigue, hypo or hyperthyroidism, which is really common, all these autoimmunes, which breaks my heart because the conventional medicine uses immunosuppressants for autoimmunes. So they're just trying to suppress your immune system from responding without teaching people that autoimmune is a theory. Like, we haven't even proven that the body attacks itself. So why are we suppressing the immune system when I believe that the body always will do what it's meant to do? So if you're sick and you have a fever, that heat is killing off the virus. So why are you taking a fever reducer? You're just going against nature. Yeah.
It's kind of like pharmaceutical preventatives.
Pharmaceutical suppressants, right? That just suppress your symptoms. And that's like, symptoms are literally the body communicating with you. If you think of rheumatoid arthritis, where your joints swell up and they say it's an autoimmune disease, that your body is attacking the joints. Well, what happens when your joints swell? There's inflammation, so there's heat. What if there was a pathogen in the joint that's attacking the joint, and now your body's creating this inflammatory symptom to try to kill off the pathogen, to try to prevent it from spreading. And now you're taking these anti-inflammatories, and you're undoing the body's corrective work. And now these pathogens are just going to spread throughout the body and cause more issues down the line, instead of allowing the body to actually do what it's meant to do. Or better yet, asking, why would the body do that? You know? And cancer is an interesting one with tumors, where I strongly believe that a tumor is the body's way of correcting something that's wrong. So if you have quote unquote bad cells, why not calcify them? Why not engulf them in something to prevent them from spreading in the rest of the body, right? And now you have this encapsulated mass of quote unquote bad cells, and we call it a tumor, and we want to remove it. But isn't that thing actually protecting whatever it was from spreading it in the body? But, there's different schools of thought around it.
So like the pharmaceutical world and then the holistic world. The pharmaceuticals is just, the way my mother explained it to me is they address the symptom and not the root. My mom says we address the root and not the symptom.
Correct.
And we know that when we fix the root, the symptom will change.
Correct.
So there's different conversations around this concept, but don't call one evil too soon. And I think even as like holistic people, natural people, and we believe in herbs and all things natural, we've probably both have incidences where we've depended on the pharmaceuticals to help us. For me, I've seen that a lot. I had psoriasis, and I'm a healthy person, so I was really thrown off. I was really stressed in high school, oozing skin, had to put plastic wrap around my arms just to get through high school without dirtying my clothes. It was disgusting. And I was so desperate for both, so I tried both. I was putting different ozone therapies on, light healing, just breathing treatments, metal healing, just all kinds of stuff. And then I went on medication, and I got a cream, and then I put it everywhere that it was starting to show, starting to itch, and then it just spread everywhere.
Oh my God.
And then I got on pills because I was just getting desperate. My mom's like, you can make a choice. We can completely change your diet. You can meditate every single day to make your mindset in a state to heal your body. And then no eating a bunch of stuff, heal your mind from negative thinking so that your body's in a healing state. Because I could be very negative in my mind, and I think that's what makes me sick most of the time, or sleep. So over time, we were able to change those things over completely changing my lifestyle. I remember it was like ashwagandha that I discovered at the time that helped reduce a lot of things. But that was one time I tried to surrender to the pharmaceutical way. And even then, it didn't even fix my symptom.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, that it makes things worse for a lot of people. And if you would have known back then, maybe like anything that's skin related is rooted in the liver, because the liver is a filter. So the moment you see something on the skin, eczema, psoriasis, acne, it doesn't matter. It gets rooted back in the liver. And we see this often with teenagers because they have a greater influx of hormones. So now the liver has this extra burden because it has to metabolize all these new hormones. And it's not that you were unhealthy. It's just that the liver could have used a little bit of an extra oomph. And like back, I would have even recommended castor oil, like castor oil wraps, because you said you're saran wrapping your skin with plastic wrap. But if you would have put castor oil on it, that would have been really good for the lymphatic system, for the liver, has really strong drawing. Like there's so many things that we can do and try. And I'm always amazed at how quickly natural health works and helps. But that's absolutely incredible that you changed your diet, your lifestyle, your mind. You tried the pharmaceutical route, and then you came out of it. I mean, your skin looks incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's like what's been really fun for just me and my family, because we're all really into holistic health and holistic nutrition. And my mom was like at her prime of being the healthiest woman ever, helping people in the community get healthy. And then she got cancer. And so now we're like, well, what's wrong? This doesn't make sense. But there's other functions, such as, are you in the state of burnout? And now like a lot of more natural people are getting into even beyond eating. What's your sleep, your rest, your energy, your how you view yourself is how you see yourself healing to your body. And I think my mom was just on such a go burnt out instead of getting rejuvenated and refilled. That's why she's huge on rest and rejuvenating and not putting your identity and work in everything that you do. Because even in the healthiest state, if you don't have a good function of your energy flow, your emotional flow, sickness will happen through that too. So what have you seen with emotional health affecting people's health?
Yeah. So that's something that I can resonate with and relate with as well. And I think a lot of people that are in the healing space, or healers, or even mothers, and probably even fathers as well, can relate to this kind of like this martyr syndrome, where you're sacrificing yourself and putting everybody else first. And like you said, you make this like your life's mission and your life's work, but you need your glass to be full to be able to give to others. And I also have to remind myself of finding that balance and slowing down and not overworking and filling my cup back up. Because if I want to keep helping people the way that I want to, I have to make sure that I have the energy and the health to keep moving forward. And it's hard because, you want to keep pushing forward. And what I've noticed is if you don't listen to your body, which it will always give you little indicators of like, hey, listen to me, I need sleep, I need a little bit of help. But that's when disease sets in. And even in training, because I know you're a personal trainer, if you ignore small injuries in the body or small little knots in the body and you just push through your workout, eventually those compensations will lead to injuries, right? But if you just took the time to work the knot out and do some corrective exercises to fix the imbalance in the muscle, then you would prevent the injury from happening in the first place. So I would say same thing with health. If we can just become more conscious and aware of these symptoms and just really listening to our body when it's first telling us it needs support instead of suppressing that and continuing to push through it, I think we would prevent just a lot of disease and illness in general. And I notice this myself with colds. If I don't sleep enough, if I don't eat well, if I'm stressed out, and in the morning I'll wake up and I'm kind of sniffly, and if I keep pushing myself, I'll get sick. But if the next day I listen, I take it slow, I go to bed early, I drink some tea, I nourish myself, take some immune herbs, even though I'm not sick yet. But if you really pay attention at that beginning part when the body's trying to tell you something is wrong, you're going to have that much more success in helping it heal and recover, because you're preventing something from actually happening and setting in.
Okay, I want to contrast two worlds that I'm very involved in, and I see that they conflict sometimes. So fitness world and holistic health world. That's like literally my mom and my dad. But what I'm learning through my fitness side is how big the macronutrients to get jacked and fuel your muscles. And it's always about the grams of protein, the calorie deficit, and making sure that you are just basically eating enough carbs to sustain your workout and all of that. And creatine. They don't talk about micronutrients. They don't talk about inflammation caused by an ingredient in the protein powder. But I want to truly embody both well and honor my protein, but also be realistic about my micronutrients and as my priority. So what is your philosophy on that, especially like as we talk about calories more and your relationship with food?
Nutrient dense foods are going to be where it's at. And what I see a lot of athletes or bodybuilders do is that to keep things simple, generally because you're using so much energy, you have to consume a lot of food, and it takes a lot of time to cook. Generally what they do is that they cook the same things in big batches. So like rice, broccoli, and chicken, for example, will be like a common like bodybuilder meal that I see. And there's nothing wrong with that meal specifically. But if you're eating the same meal every day, to me, you're dumbing down your body, because your body likes intelligence. It likes, like if you were to change the broccoli to a broccolini one day, the broccoli and the broccolini have different DNA. The Roma tomatoes and the heirloom tomatoes. And so just having variety in the types of foods that you're eating, I think will build your body's intelligence. And what I see with a lot of bodybuilders and athletes is this really stiff body, right? And it's like, you might have these really great muscles, but how functional are you? Can you bend down and like touch your toes? Can you like put your arm up over your head? Can you even lift your arms up? Some of them, like their shoulders are frozen, right? But they look really big and strong. So I think there needs to be kind of a revamp, not just on the nutrition side, but also on the way that we move our body, and viewing it from a different perspective where it's not just aesthetics. And I think as people get older, they're kind of shifting their goals as well, because they're noticing that they're not moving as fluidly as they used to, and they might look great, but they might not feel as great as they look. So to me, that would be like a holistic approach to fitness as well. Can you walk properly? Can you stand properly? Can you run properly? Can you throw properly? Those are like the basics of like human movement. And if you can't, what can you do to help fix that? And how many powerlifters have had slip discs, or how many runners have had to have their hips replaced, or, your body shouldn't be breaking down as you're doing these movements. You shouldn't feel worse after workout. You shouldn't feel more restricted. You should feel looser and freer and stronger. And if your workout is making you more stiff and constricted and less functional, to me, wouldn't you want your body to be more functional at the end of the day? And so from the nutrition side of it as well, focusing more on those micronutrients, like you mentioned, what are the building blocks of protein? Amino acids. Where do we find amino acids? fruits and vegetables. And so then there's this entire camp that believes we have to eat meat. And if you're eating real food, I'm happy. Whether it's meat or fruits and vegetables, as long as it's real, I'm happy. If it's balanced, I'm happy. Whether you're carnivore or vegan, as long as you're not eating fake crap, that's great. But sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. So
amino acids in fruit.
Oh, yes. Thank you. So we have this misconception that we need meat to build muscle, right? But if you think about it, when you're eating meat, when you're eating a protein, your body has to break it down into an amino acid and is using that amino acid to build your muscle. Now, if you were to eat a fruit or a vegetable, now you're eating the amino acid, which goes straight to your muscle to build muscle. So to me, eating a protein is more of like a recycled amino acid. Like your body's doing more work to turn this molecule back into what it wanted it to be. And if you think of, and this is always the argument, if you think of the largest, strongest mammals on Earth, like elephants, for example, that have a bunch of muscle on them, they're herbivores, right? So how are they putting on muscle if they're only eating plants?
I've never thought about that. That's crazy.
Yep. But I do think that animal protein is very nourishing. So I don't have anything against it. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. And where I see people screw up, I guess, is when they take it either side of the extreme. So they're going like raw carnivore or raw vegan. And then on top of that, there's no variety in their diet, right? So like they're eating beef liver all day, every day, which that's like a whole other tangent that we can get into, organ meats. So.
Wow. I do like how you're pretty neutral in these kind of things because, we want extreme from the naturopath. Come on, like make something hurt. But the reality is you're helping someone do what they will do, not what like you actually can force them to do. Because at the end of the day, people have their habits, their own routine, their own relationship with how they see meat. Like I've never been able to give up meat. I'm Mexican, Filipino, Islander. Barbecues are everything. Protein, I believe that's genetic. I can't give it up. But you're not saying like, oh, well, if you need to heal your gut, you got to cut it out. Or if you want to build muscle, you got to add it all. It's like, you're going to eat what you like. And there's more nutrient dense foods, but you can't demonize any if you're going to eat it.
There's different approaches to it. Everybody's body is different.
Yeah.
And just like you said, I do strongly believe that your genetic roots will influence whether you're able to digest certain things better or not. Yeah. We can mention like some Asians are missing the gene to actually, and Native Americans, the enzyme to break down and metabolize alcohol. So they get drunk faster, right? And so if that, we know that these people can't metabolize alcohol as easily, we can also assume that certain people can't digest certain foods as easily, right? And if you grow up in Alaska, you probably are eating more fatty, more fish, more, and that's what your body was accustomed to. And genetically, you're accustomed to digesting those things. So I don't think that there's any one right diet for everyone. If you tell me that you feel great eating something, I'm not going to argue with you on that. Like if you feel great eating something, go for it. Even if I think that's maybe not something that I would recommend or promote, I'm not going to argue with your actual experience of eating this food. And you never step into the same river twice. We have different needs at different times of our lives. What you need as a toddler will be different than what you need as a teenager, as what you need as an adult, as what you need as a pregnant mother, what you need as an elderly person, right? So your body is going to have different needs at different times in our lives. So I think it's also very naive to believe that we are going to be eating a certain way forever. And your body changes, some cravings change, the way that you digest things change. I'm I always tell people, pay attention to how you feel 20, 30 minutes after your meals. Are you gassy? Are you bloated? Are you lethargic? Are you ready to fight or flight? Like, your meals shouldn't be putting you in a food coma. You should be ready to go. And if it is, or if you are feeling gassy and lethargic afterwards or bloated, something in that meal didn't agree with you. Yeah. And it's a lot of trial and error. And then you revisit that meal. What are the common triggers in that meal? What can I remove? And you just experiment.
Yeah. Like, your food should leave you feeling great.
Exactly.
Whole foods.
Yes.
With debatable things like carbs. Because people demonize like white carbs and processed potatoes even. Some digest rice better, but that's an individual thing, right?
Individual thing. I mean, you could go on a tangent about all of these things, right? Like rice, you could say has arsenic by organic. Some people will say, once you put rice in the fridge, that does something to the starches. I think there is a healthier way to eat certain foods. So nuts and seeds and grains, if you soak or sprout them first, they're going to, they have enzyme inhibitors in them that prevent them from being broken down. So if you soak or sprout them, it's going to release all the nutrients in that seed or in that nut. So you can get more out of your food. You can make your food more easily digestible in a lot of ways, like slow cooking your food. I think slow cooked food is some of the healthiest food that you can eat because it's going to retain more of those nutrients, more of those enzymes. You're going to get that like nice gelatin type of like deep bone broth type of stuff. So yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions and you can just say approve or disapprove.
Yeah.
Questions for a naturopath. Does microwaves harm your food?
Yes.
You don't microwave your food?
Never. I don't own a microwave. I literally don't own a microwave.
They're like, you're so not neutral. Like, no microwave.
No. I'm sure you can look this up, but I'm pretty sure that microwaves were developed by I think it was like the Russian government to, it's like a cancer causing agent. And I haven't personally tried this, but I've heard that if you microwave a bowl of water, if you have a pet, if you microwave a bowl of water and then let it cool, and then you boil a bowl of water on a stovetop and let it cool, and you put the two bowls down, your pet will not drink the microwave water because it can smell that the molecules have been inverted.
That sucks.
Yeah. So unless I have to, like I'm at a hotel or something, but even then, honestly, I would rather just eat the food cold than microwave it.
So if you have a plate of food and it's cooked in whole food, if you just put it in the microwave for 2 minutes and bring it out, it is no longer a whole food.
I would consider it a dead, nuked, radiated plate of food.
Yep. So that belief is, I was raised without a microwave in the house. My mom does not have a microwave in the house. And so I love that you don't. I'm going to tell her that after this.
It drives my boyfriend crazy because when he comes over for dinner, it's like he has to wait like 5 minutes for the food to warm up. Yeah. I'm like, sorry.
That's one of the biggest changes. Like if you really want to become a crunchy person, just natural, reduce the microwave, get rid of it. I just realized I want to get some microwave popcorn because there's like a microwave here and I'm like, oh, I could use that. But yeah, like people don't know that. People don't understand that the microwave releases electromagnetic frequencies. Like I don't even stand near it when it's on because I know I was so trained and I've seen the tests.
Yeah.
I've seen the test where you just have your phone get a ring and how much EMFs are from that.
Yeah.
I've seen the test when you put the machine next to the microwave. And that's the highest it is. And that's what's crazy because if EMFs can make us sick, we have no control where it is, especially with these 5G towers now. So the microwave emits EMFs when it's on, but the 5G towers releases a similar electromagnetic frequency all the time, correct?
Yeah. And I suspect that EMFs in our environment are one of the big reasons why we are so mineral deficient in general.
Interesting.
One, yes, I think our soil is deficient, but I think that our exposure to these EMFs is literally draining minerals and electricity out of our body and is depleting our minerals.
Can you share this electricity concept? Because you're the only one I've ever heard explain this. So break it down.
Yep. So this is how I explain it. If you are a science whiz, you're going to be like, that's not 100% correct, but to keep it very general and to help create a picture in people's minds, I view metals and minerals as them being in the same family. So if you think of the periodic table of elements back in science class, you have minerals and metals in there. And again, this is where it's not true for all minerals and metals, but just for the sake of this conversation, I view minerals as elements that help conduct energy and electricity, and metals will block the conductivity of energy and electricity in the body. And which is a reason why I love sea moss, because if you are struggling with low energy, or you are mineral deficient, you can take sea moss and literally increase the electricity in your body because you're consuming more minerals. And if there's more electricity in your body, there's more life. Your cells are going to communicate better as well. And your body is like a sponge. It wants to absorb everything. So if you can keep the sponge full of good stuff, minerals, then it's going to prevent it from absorbing the bad stuff, which are the metals. So one part of it is, I always have clients who come to me wanting to remove the metals, but nobody ever asks, how can I prevent myself from absorbing all of these metals that are inevitably a part of our environment? Pots and pans, toiletries, makeup, EMFs. So I strongly believe that by keeping that sponge full, you're preventing a lot of these metals from absorbing in the body.
So in other words, sea moss helps cleanse from heavy metals.
Yes. And so if you're having any trouble focusing, concentrating, brain fog, trouble remembering things, if you think of your brain has all these electrical circuits and neurons, if there's heavy metals in the brain, it's going to prevent your brain from communicating properly. So you might have a thought and then forget it, or walk out of a house and you're like, shoot, I forgot something. You go back. But if you can increase the electricity in the brain, your brain is going to work better. You're going to notice not as much brain fog. You have more energy. Yeah.
I love that. It changes it. It makes it like nutrients, eat what's in the body, to like electricity. Things around us getting in our body without even touching us.
Yeah. I think there's so much more to food than we realize. One of my favorite food pyramids, a lot of people don't realize this, but every single country has a different food pyramid.
I've seen that.
Depending on the agriculture in that country. My favorite food pyramid is the karmic food pyramid, which lists foods based on their frequency, because every food has a specific frequency. And so the high vibrating foods are at the top of the pyramids, and the low vibrating foods are at the bottom. But you want to eat more from the top of the pyramid, and just more life, right? I think we're living beings, and if you want life, you want to eat life, right? And no wonder you don't have energy if you're eating dead food.
Which means inconvenient food. That means food that expires, food that you have to get in 2 to 3 weeks for it to be fresh. And we are so drawn to the convenient, fast life, fast food, easy, back in the car, just open it up, snack on it, instead of that nourishment comes from the inconvenience of connecting with your food, preparing it, because it's alive. And it does expire. I'm sorry, sea moss expires. It's so annoying.
It's annoying, but it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it keeps me diligent about taking my sea moss every day, because I know if I'm not taking it every day, it's gonna go bad. But you're putting all this good stuff in your body. You don't want to add another preservative in there. And what most sea moss is preserved with, and what most foods in general are preserved with, is citric acid. And citric acid commercially, you would think would come from citrus, but it's actually derived from mold. And so now you're putting a mold derived product in your nice, pure food. And yeah, which is actually how I found you, because I used to use a commercial sea moss that had didn't have to be refrigerated, had a shelf life of 6 to 12 months. And then I met you, and your sea moss tasted better, and it was much better quality, obviously. And yeah. And
that means a lot, because when you told me I'm so happy, does it have preservatives? I'm like, no, because other people are like, why does this sea moss expire? The one from the store is not even in the fridge, and I don't have to worry about it expiring. And you really helped me just stand on my integrity of not adding citric acid, because I have citric acid. It made it even taste kind of yummy. But yeah, you can't truly know if your citric acid is lemon based or mold based. And that's just not fair to truly give you something healing of all pure ingredients adding something that could potentially literally be mold.
Yeah.
And citric acid is the healthy preservative. So that's why it's tricky to be healthy. You got to be a little bit of a detective and care about those details. And that's why your words help me not. It's going to stay pure. Thank you.
I'm so happy to hear that.
A few more things I want to hear your insight on as a naturopath. Birth control. Is there long-term damaging effects to your fertility if you take birth control?
I personally believe so. I have no proof of that. Obviously, there's been women who have been on birth control for decades and have been off of it and then have gotten pregnant just fine.
Yeah.
I can tell you that I was on birth control for a decade, and I finally decided to get off of it just because of my health goals. And I thought, I'm just not going to reach this next health goal if I keep taking the synthetic hormone. It took about 2 years for me to start getting a normal period again. So I was having a period every quarter for a couple of years until I started finally having a period every month. Wow. And it's been a lot of work, even for me as a professional, as a naturopath, with everything that I know, to get my period back to where it should be. So with herbs and yoni steaming, I was finally able to get it between that like perfect 27 to 29 day window. But it took years of me being off of birth control with a lot of intentional work for my body to find that balance. So I can imagine somebody who just gets off of it and doesn't put in any work, it might take longer for their body to find that balance. Now, I don't know if it affected my fertility or not, but inevitably it's affecting your body because you're taking in a synthetic hormone. And I feel the same way about HRT, about human hormone replacement therapy, which is very big right now. These like pellets that they're putting under the skin, right? To me, it's not that much different than birth control. You're still taking in a synthetic hormone. One
gives you fertility to have a baby or supports your process in menopause too. You can use it for both functions.
The hormone replacement therapy, yeah, it's just supplementing you with whatever hormone that you need to not hit menopause or to not age as quickly as you are. The birth control is literally just tricking your body into thinking it's pregnant the whole time, which also is a very odd thing, right? If your body always thinks that it's pregnant. And then there's been so many studies that show that women on birth control are attracted to the scent of, for lack of better words, of the wrong men. So when you're on birth control versus when you're not on birth control, you're going to be attracted to different men.
I totally heard that. When I was in high school, my English teacher, his wife was super into this topic. And so we were studying, she was sharing something where they did research on monkeys and who they were attracted to was completely different on birth control. And they just did like a bunch of different tests to know that like on a pheromone level, just your energy is just different. It's off. It's not fully you.
Yeah. Yeah. So in general, women on birth control tend to be attracted to more passive feminine men, and women not on birth control tend to be more attracted to like more dominant masculine men. Which
that's crazy.
I think as a society is a very interesting thing to just watch and be aware of. Yeah. And then I guess the other thing that I was going to mention with the athletes and the organ meats, that's also another thing that people don't realize is in the bodybuilding world, what most people were doing was injecting testosterone. Now I'm seeing this shift towards organ meats, which I think is better and healthier because those organ meats do have testosterone in them and will help you build more muscle in that sense. But you're essentially doing the same thing that you are doing when you're injecting testosterone or doing HRT or taking birth control. You're now putting in these hormones. They're not synthetic, but you're putting in an abnormal amount of hormones in your body that your body isn't normally used to. So if you think traditionally, you've got a tribe, you kill an animal, what is the ratio of organ to meat on that animal, right? And is it normal to be eating liver every single week? No, you might have liver once every 6 months or once every 12 months. And even then, the organs generally were saved and prized for the elders in the tribe, because as you're aging, your endocrine glands, that produce hormones, they don't produce as many hormones as we age. And so now you're eating those hormones, you're eating those organs to supplement for that. But if you're young and you're healthy, and now you're eating organ meats, not once in a while, but I'm saying eating organ meats regularly as part of your daily diet, then I think that you're still creating this hormonal imbalance in the body. I've seen a lot of bodybuilders start losing their hair because they were eating too much liver, and to me, that's a very similar side effect to injecting testosterone.
So you do want to be reasonable with how much you take when it comes to liver.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Usually, when I see people get in trouble, is that they're going on the extreme side of something.
You're like chugging egg whites.
Yeah, and the truth is always somewhere in the middle. But nobody likes, balance isn't sexy. It's not.
Yeah.
People like these aggressive, extreme protocols, and it's like, wait, you mean just eating a balanced diet and sleeping and drinking water is all I need to do? But I want to do this extreme thing. But wait, let's back up a little. Are you even sleeping correctly? Are you even drinking? We don't even have the foundations down correctly. And we want to skip to this next step, which is also where people I see get in trouble with fitness. It's you don't have the foundation. You can't even move your body correctly, yet you want to pick up a heavy weight. And now you want to pick up that heavy weight with poor posture, and and now you're getting yourself in trouble. And then I see the same thing in the holistic world. You have somebody who learns about a heavy metal detox or a parasite cleanse, and then they just do it, and you're coming off of McDonald's, and you're gonna feel like crap. How about you put some real food in your body first before doing this extreme cleanse, thinking it's going to undo everything that you've been doing for years. It's that's not a realistic way of viewing the world.
Dang.
Yeah.
Balance isn't sexy, but balance makes you sexy.
Yes.
There you go. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, we'll bring it to a close. Can you share where people can find you, and share a little bit about why they should look into colon hydrotherapy just for their own benefit?
Yeah. You can find me at The Root Chakra in San Jose, California, therootchakra.com. You can find me on Instagram, SBH Spa. SBH is in South Bay Holistic Spa. Colon hydrotherapy, I always tell people, you don't know what empty feels like until you do something like this. And for most people, it's such a eye-opening, life-changing experience. And my favorite clients are the clients that have never pooped once a day in their entire life. They've always gone 2 or 3 days until the next bowel movement, and now they're finally pooping every day, and oh my gosh, my life, you've changed my life. You have no idea what a big difference that makes. But you shouldn't be suffering silently. I think there should be more conversation around this. A lot of these really uncomfortable digestive complaints that people just suffer with, like acid reflux and constipation and gas and bloating, you don't have to suffer with that. And so many people limit their lives. They won't go out to eat with friends because they're bloated and uncomfortable the whole time. They literally can't eat, or they can't even lay down in bed correctly because they have acid reflux coming up their esophagus. And that's not a quality of life that needs, you don't have to live your life that way, and there are really quick and easy fixes that you might not even realize how easy they are that can change that. And I think getting you to poop more than once a day and getting rid of your acid reflux and your uncomfortable bloat can just really change your life in so many ways. So yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. It's been an honor getting to know you and just seeing you so rooted and grounded in what you're sharing, and like you've inspired me to stay true to just like the holistic and finding the tribe that supports the way we live. And it's been fun. It's been an honor, and I'm thankful for how you've supported me. And even doing the show, you're the first one to be on in a while.
Aw, thank you for having me. And I just feel so blessed to have met you. And thank you for what you're doing for the community and providing the CMOS and just spreading your love and your energy. And I've told you before, but you inspire me so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was amazing. That was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. Do check out what she does, her services, her location. Heal yourself and start taking the steps to live a healthy lifestyle. Do different things to feel better. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.